All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's see that we are live. Let me just get my view on and let's go ahead and start the recording. All right, so let's go ahead. Boom, here I am. Let me make sure I can be seen. It's a beautiful thing. All right. The next beautiful thing is to, of course, let's get the Hey everyone, what's going on? It's Coach Trev. And so I'm just making sure that I am live because I cannot see it. There we go. There I am. Now let me just turn the volume down, make sure that people know that I'm live. Yes. All right. So sent the news out, making sure that I am nice and bright. All right. Nice and bright. And we got the light. So let's go. All right. And let me just pull this up here, making sure everything is minimized. Don't need that. Yep, and don't need that information. Here we go. Beautiful. All right, so now I want to thank you all for participating, for waiting for me. I'm just closing out the things that I don't need, so that way I can give you my full attention. And let me pull up these notes, which is a wonderful thing. All right, so let's start. One of the things before we even dive in, you know, the title of my workshop today is 90 Days to Transformation, why Q4 is your last chance this year. So before I even start, I want you to do something for me. I want you to think back to January 1st of this year. Now, remember those goals you set? Remember those way back then? I know it. I'll give you a minute. Your chance to pause. You know those things you swore you were definitely going to do at the beginning of the year? Those things? Now, I want you to be really honest with yourself. Ask yourself, where are those goals right now? How many of them have you actually accomplished? And so if you can, type in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with with your progress this year? All right. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to type that into the chat. All right. So, well, I'm going to give you a moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to pull up the PowerPoint now. In the past, there's been many PowerPoints there. There won't be too much this time. It'll just be a conversation that we're going to have because what we're talking about is really serious. So I want it to be just you and I, right? So let's go ahead and get this going. All right. So now that I'm sharing that, and let's go. And let's start the show. So I'm sharing the screen here. Yep, I'm making sure that I am sharing it here. Because one of the things that you want to do anytime if you're ever running a workshop or anything technical, you always want to make sure that things are running properly. So let's go ahead and let's demonstrate this now. So 90 days to transformation, why Q1 is your last chance. So looking at this, the first thing we're going to talk about is the uncomfortable truth. Okay. Now, I asked you initially when we got on is to put down on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think how satisfied you are with your progress this year? And so when you put it down, many times, if you really think about it, some of you may have some threes, some fours, things along those lines. So you're not really satisfied. So, and that's exactly why we're here tonight, because here's what I know. You've got 90 days left. 90. That's it. And those 90 days that are going to determine and those 90 days are going to determine whether you end this year proud of yourself or you're going to be disappointing yourself. So really, when it comes to it, there's no middle ground here. So tonight, this evening, I'm going to show you exactly how to use these final 90 days to really create the transformation you've been chasing all this year. Now, not just plan it, not just talk about it, actually do it. So we're going to get started. What I want you to do too is stay until the end because I have a secret about this workshop that deals with the title and the time frame. Now, that secret is really a game changer, so you want to stick around for that. So, let's talk about the uncomfortable truth. And this is where we get real. Right now, we're standing at the beginning of October. You've got October, November, December, 90 days. And so I need you to really let that sink in for a second because this is a make or break time. That's it. And here's what typically happens to most people during Q4. They tell themselves, this year's almost over. I'll just start fresh in January. And then January comes and what happens? They set new goals. Then by March, where are those goals? Those goals are sitting on a shelf collecting dust. Then they get to October again and repeat the whole cycle. But you're different. Why? Because you're here tonight, and if you're watching this on a replay, because some part of you knows that you don't want to end the year with regrets. You know, you've done it in the past. You are tired of that cycle. There is some part of you that knows you're capable of doing more. All right. So here's the question I need you to answer. What do you want December 31st to look like? Do you want to be sitting there thinking, I can't believe I actually did it. I finished what I started. It's been a long road. I'm able to grab this, check this off. I'm so proud. Or do you want that familiar feeling of like another year gone, same goals unfinished? Maybe next year? Because I'm telling you right now, the choice you make right now at this moment is to either take this seriously or you can blow it off like you've blown everything else off this year. That choice determines which version of December 31st you're going to get. So that's the real of it. All right. Now let's talk. Now what we're going to do is let's talk about the our next step here, which is why this destroys you. All right. So there's a pattern. There's a pattern that we see here that repeats here. And we're going to talk about why this thing is so devastating. Because it's not just about hitting your goals. It's not about what happens to you as a person. It's not about it's about what happens to you, what happens to yourself, your inner self, when you keep breaking promises to yourself. All right, we're going to talk about that. So the first thing is you lose trust in your own word. All right. Yes, simply, you lose trust in your own word. Think about it for a second. If you can't count on yourself to do what you say you're going to do, who can you count on? Every time you set a goal and you don't follow through, you're basically training yourself, training your brain and your thoughts, telling yourself that your word doesn't have value, which is a scary place to be when you're achieving goals. The second thing is your confidence gets eroded. So it doesn't get eroded like, all at once. It's not just one and done. Thing is, though, it's gradual. See, but with every abandoned goal, every quit, every time you'll say, I'll start Monday, that turns into never. What it does is it chips away at the belief in yourself. And so now, before you know it, you start identifying as someone who just isn't good enough at following through. That's your new identity. Then, you take it out, you picture, that's what it says there. So that's an issue. The third thing that was on the slide was that you waste massive amounts of energy. So see, starting and stopping and restarting, that takes way more energy than we realize. It takes so much more energy than just sticking with something from the beginning. See, because with that energy, you're basically spinning your wheels instead of building momentum. And that's a key thing. Now, next, the fourth thing is this, and this right here is truly, truly, truly a hurt. You repeat this pattern year after year after years. It's the same goals in January, the same quit in March, the same regrets in December, over and over again. And here's what I want you to understand. It's that this isn't happening because you're lazy or undisciplined or lacking in some basic fundamental way. It's happening because you're using a system that's designed to fail. So that's really it. So now when it comes to it, it's if you don't change anything in the next 90 days, and I mean really change something, you're not just think about changing. Here's exactly what your future looks like. Okay. December 31st arrives. You're sitting there. Maybe you're at a party, maybe you're at home, maybe you're with family, wherever it is. You're sitting, you start to think, and this familiar feeling washes over you. Another year, where did it go? And you look at your goals that you had at the beginning of the year. And what are they doing? They're still sitting there, untouched, dusty. Now, there may be some fingerprints here and there because you've taken it off the shelf a couple of times there, but it's untouched. The business idea that you were going to launch, still just an idea. The weight that you were going to lose, it's still there. Maybe there's more. That book you were going to write, it's still just a title in your head. Maybe there's a few pages now, but that's it. And then comes January 3rd, 31st. The ball drops, we toast, all that, hugs and what have you. Then after that, you're like, let me do it all over again. New goals, fresh start. This year is going to be different. And then by March, you're right back where you started. So, but when you think about it, here's what really gets me. It's not just about the year. Because if you don't break this pattern now, you're going to be having the exact same conversation with yourself next October, and the October after that, and the one after that. So you ask yourself, how many more years are you willing to waste? How many more Decembers are you okay with ending with that feeling of disappointment in yourself? And I'm not asking that to make you feel bad. I'm asking that at some point you've got to get fed up enough to actually change. And my hope is that tonight is that point for you. All right. And so let's take a look at some of the research because you may be saying, well, Trevor, you're putting this out there. These are your thoughts. This is what's going on. Nope. This is not just my thoughts. There's research that's done with this. So let's look at the research. Only 8% of people finish their goals at the end of the year. 8%, not 18. That's not a typo. There's no two missing. There's no one. I did not move the decimal. 8%. That means 92 out of every 100 people who set goals in January will not achieve them. If that's not a wake-up call, I don't know what is. Next, the average person abandons their new behaviors after just 18 days. You're not even making it to 20. It's not even 3 weeks. Think about that. Most people can't stick with something for less than a month. Now, but there is some good news because you're looking at the stats, you're starting to feel down, but let's bring this up. Okay. So the good news is that this is why I'm very inspired about this next 90 days. Research also shows that 90 days is the perfect window for real transformation. And I mean, I emphasize real. So it's not too short where you can't make meaningful progress. And it's not too long where you lose focus and momentum. It's really not that. That's the window for that real change. All right. And so now when you're thinking about that, the people who succeed, that 8%, they're not more talented than you. They look at those 90 days and they realize that the 90 days is long enough to build new habits, to see real results, and create actual transformation. And when you think about that, it's short enough to maintain intensity and focus all the way through those 90 days. And so those people, they know this, but they're not more talented than you. Understand that. That 8% that you see there, it's not talent, it's not willpower, it's not better genetics, they're not luckier. The difference with them is they know how to use the 90-day window strategically. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you tonight. How to use this strategically. That's the point. All right. So let's jump in because this is here going to show you the exact steps that you can take. All right. So let's go ahead and let's bring this up. So the first thing we're going to talk about is this, is why most people waste their 90 days, and it comes down to three specific killers. Killer number one, no clear milestones. Most people set a big goal for Q4 and then just hope it happens. We hope it happens. Hope so. They don't break it down into weekly checkpoints. They don't create specific milestones to hit. So they get to mid-November and realize they're way off track and it's too late to course correct. That's where they get to. So I'm going to show you in a minute how to break your 90-day goal into specific 30-day milestones so you always know exactly where you stand, right? Killer number two, planning for fantasy and not reality. See, people plan their Q4 like nothing's gonna go wrong. Every night I'm gonna get 8 hours of sleep. It's gonna be perfect. I have perfect energy. It's gonna be beautiful. This is going to be every single day, from one day, day one to day 90, perfect. You know, it's like every day is gonna be perfect. Like Thanksgiving and Christmas and all the holiday chaos won't happen. Then what happens? Reality hits and their whole plan falls apart. So the people who succeed in Q4, they plan for reality. They know November and December can be chaotic. They know their people, they know their families. They build that chaos into their plan instead of being surprised by it. Once you do that, then that is a huge component that's going to help you succeed. Third thing, no accountability. Understand, you can tell this to the winds. You're trying to do this all alone, basically relying on motivation and wondering why you keep quitting when nobody's watching. Well, here's the truth. Here's the direct truth about that. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again because it bears repeating. Motivation is going to fail you. It always does because it's an emotion. It is temporary by design. The only thing that works long term is external accountability. Someone or something outside of yourself that keeps you on track when you don't feel like it. So these three killers are why 92% of people waste their Q4. But once you know what they are, you know what specifically these 3 points are, you can design around them. And that's what we're going to talk about. So let's show you the steps that's going to really help you turn the tables on that. Okay. So looking at this now, you've got 30 days milestone number one, 30 days milestone number two, and number three. Okay. So when we're looking at this, when we're looking at this and looking at why this happened and why things are going on, hold on for a minute. This is the 30-30-30 system. This is how you're going to break down your 90-day goals so you don't get overwhelmed and quit. And so here's really how this works. Whatever your big goal is for Q4, you're going to break it into three 30-day milestones. That one big goal, break it into 30 and the milestones, not vague milestones. They've got to be specific. They have to be measurable. And these are checkpoints that you either hit or you don't. There's no gray area. There's no try, only do. So so let's think about it for a second if we break this down and we use this 30-30-30. Let's say, for instance, because many people can relate to this may not be your goal, but it's relatable. Let's say your goal is to lose 20 pounds by December 1st. All right. So your 30-30 might look like this. By December 31st, you're down 7 pounds. By November 30th, you're down another 7 pounds. By December 31st, you're down the final 6 pounds. Or maybe you want to launch a side business, something to bring in some extra funds. So your 30-30-30 can look like this. October 31st, the business plan is complete and the LLC is filed. November 30th, your website is live and your first client is acquired. By December 31st, you've got 3 paying clients and 5,000 in revenue. So, do you see the difference there? Instead of one big scary goal that's 90 days away, you've got three smaller milestones that are only 30 days away. And every 30 days, you either hit your milestone or you don't. And if you don't, you adjust for the next 30 days. You see, this keeps you accountable. It keeps you on track. And most importantly about this, what happens is that it gives you regular wins that build momentum instead of waiting 90 days to find out if you succeeded or failed. So your first assignment after this workshop is to take your Q4 goal and break it into three specific 30-day milestones. That's the first thing. Okay. So that's solution number one, the 30-30 system. All right. So now let's go into solution number two. So solution number two, you want to plan, excuse me, solution number two is the reality filter. This is how you plan for Q4 as it actually is, not as you wish it would be. This is the actuality of it. There's no fantasy, there's no hope, no pipe dream. This is the real. So here's what I want you to do. Look at your calendar for the next 90 days. Really look at it, you know, and just this is just the focus. So really look at your calendar. What holidays are coming? Thanksgiving, Christmas, maybe Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Boxing Day, New Year's Days, birthdays. What family obligations do you have? What travel? What travel's coming up? What chaos? Now build that into your plan. So I say building this plan, you don't want to pretend. You're not pretending that it's not happening. Don't think you're going to work out on Thanksgiving. Don't plan to do any deep work on Christmas Eve. Be realistic with the people you have around you and the things that you're committed to. Also, what you want to do is plan for low energy days. If you haven't, it's real easy to plan for a high energy day when you're saying, well, I've got my 8 hours of sleep. I ran 3 miles. I swam 4 miles. I ran a triathlon this morning. I saved a kitty from a tree. All these things. I'm feeling good. I bought out all the Girl Scout cookies, whatever. So you've got to plan for those low energy days. Why? Because they're coming. You're gonna have days when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you're overwhelmed, you may oversleep. So you gotta ask yourself, what's the minimum viable action for those days? What's the smallest thing you can do to maintain your momentum? So one of the things I tell my clients is to have two plans. You have a plan A for when everything is going well, and then you have a plan B for when life all of a sudden takes the rug and snatches it out from you. Okay? When you get that gut punch, most people only have a plan A, and when that doesn't work, they quit entirely. And that's it, they're done. So the reality filter for two means you're planning for human nature in real life instead of some fantasy where you're motivated, you're energetic every single day for 90 days straight. Think about it, that's just not going to happen. So you plan for what will actually happen. See, that difference, that one shift planning for the reality instead of fantasy, that will put you ahead of 80% of people trying to make Q4 count. That's a key thing. All right. So now let's go ahead and look into solution three. All right. So, so looking at solution three, boom. Build an actual accountability system. And I'm gonna be blunt on this. So this is your accountability system. You see the slide here, and it's only up there, done deal. Let's get clear. You cannot do this alone. I don't care how disciplined you think you are. I don't care how motivated you are. I don't care I don't care what, you think, you've built up certain willpower. If you try to do this by yourself, relying on your own willpower for 90 days on motivation, it's not going to happen. You will quit. There's no maybe about it. You will. Here's why. Because when nobody's watching, when nobody's checking in, when nobody cares if you quit, it becomes way too easy to let yourself off the hook. It's easy. I mean, you miss one day, you're like, I'll make it up tomorrow. Then you miss 2 days. Then you miss a week. Before you know it, it's the holidays and you haven't done anything. You need external accountability. That means someone or something outside of yourself that's tracking your progress and checking it regularly. Now, this could be a coach, someone like me who does this professionally. This could be an accountability partner, someone with their own Q4 goals who checks in with you weekly. It could be a group, but it has to be external. It can't just be you in the journal and this is it, done deal. Because when you're only accountable to yourself, you let yourself slide. We all do. I'm an accountability coach. I have coaches that I keep up with that keep me there. Don't think that, oh, well, he's an accountability coach. Yeah. No, I have coaches too. The most successful people out there that I've ever worked with, those are the ones who actually transformed the 90 days. They all have one thing in common. All of them. They had strong external accountability. All of them had that. So they built a system where quitting is harder than continuing. Can you imagine that? That to quit something is harder than continuing. So before this quarter starts, you need to answer this question. Who or what's going to hold me accountable for the next 90 days? If you don't have an answer, you're already setting yourself up to fail already. So that's it. You've got to have that external accountability system. There's no question around it. That's how you will hit your goals. So looking at this, so let's put up your 90-day action plan. All right. Before you do anything else, before you start working on your Q4 goals, you need to do these three things. Number one, break your big goal into three specific 30-day milestones using the 30-30 system. Write them down, make them measurable, make them specific enough that on October 31st, November 30th, or December 31st, you can say, yes, I hit it, or no, I didn't. Period. Now, number two, run your plan through the reality filter. Look at your calendar, identify the chaos points, build in flexibility, create your B plan for your low energy days, plan for Thanksgiving week and Christmas week. I mean, be honest about what you can realistically accomplish. And number three, set up your accountability system before you start. Don't wait until you feel like you need it. Don't wait until you're already struggling. You say, well, wait, I'm gonna do it myself until this point, and then I'm gonna get, no. Set it up now while you have the momentum, while you have this, while you're listening to this. Set this thing up now, right? And decide who's going to check in with you. Decide how often, decide what you'll report on. That's key. If you do these three things before you'll start, you'll be in the top 10% of people trying to make a Q4 count. As it says, most people skip this setup and wonder why they fail. Your goal, don't be most people. Take the time now to do this right. And when you do, your 90 days will be completely different than anything you've experienced before. So you may be wondering, why does this work? It's really, when you think about it, you want to know, and when you think about why this works and you put this all together, you'll get the answers, you'll get the response to this. Because this approach will, this approach beats motivation. Why? Because most people, and this has been you, and in the past, this has been me. So this is not me just throwing this out at you. This is me saying, okay, this is me saying, here we go. Many people, they rely on motivation. They wait to feel motivated. They think that if they just get pumped up enough, they'll be able to push through for 90 days. But here's what I've learned after coaching dozens of people. And let me go full screen on this. Motivation is garbage. It's unreliable. Why? Because it's an emotion. It comes and goes. You wake up motivated on Monday morning, and by Monday afternoon, it's gone. Or by Wednesday, it's gone. The people who actually transform in 90 days, they don't rely on motivations. They rely on systems. They have a 30-30-30 breakdown that tells them exactly what to do. They have a reality-based plan that works even when they're tired. They have external accountability that keeps them moving when they don't feel like it. So systems beat motivation every day of the week and twice on Sundays. Why? Because systems work whether you like it or not. And that's why my approach is different than anything else out there. Because I'm not going to pump you up and send you out hoping you stay motivated for 90 days. No, that's not going to work. I'm going to give you a system that works even when you're unmotivated, even when you're tired, when you want to quit. That's the difference between people who make it 90 days and people who quit at day 18. So here's what I like to do for you. I've been doing this for over 2 decades and I've helped dozens of people create transformations. I've seen every excuse, I've seen nearly every excuse, nearly every obstacle, almost every reason people quit. And I've seen what works. So what I'm going to do is help you personally design your 90-day transformation plan. Now, this is not some generic plan a cookie cutter plan that doesn't fit you. It's basically your specific plan for your specific goal in your specific situation. Because here's the thing, everything that I've taught you tonight is true. The 30-30 system works. The reality filter works. External accountability works. But the application has to be customized to you. Your goal is different than someone else's. Your schedule is different. Your obstacles are different. Your accountability needs are different. That's why I'm offering a 90-day transformation strategy sessions. In 30 minutes, we'll map out your entire Q4. We'll break down your goal using the 30-30-30 system. We'll run it through the reality filter for your specific calendar and life situations. And we'll set up an accountability system that actually works for your personality. You'll walk away with a complete roadmap for the next 90 days. Not theory, not concept, a plan you can start executing immediately. So what does that look like? Let me say, well, what does that look like? It's gonna look like let me show you what that looks like here. And so in your 90-day transformation session, here's exactly what we're gonna do. What we'll do is we'll do your 30-30 milestone breakdown. We'll take your big Q4 goal and break it into three specific 30-day milestones. You know exactly what to accomplish by October 31st, November 30th, and December 31st. Second thing is your reality-based action plan. We'll look at your actual calendar, your actual energy levels, your actual life circumstances. We'll plan for the holidays. We'll plan for the chaos, for the disruptions. What we'll do is we'll build in flexibility so that when life happens, your plan doesn't fall apart. Third thing we'll do is we'll design a custom accountability plan. This isn't a cookie cutter one size fits all. Because some people need daily check-ins. Some people need weekly. Some people need every other day. Some people need a coach. Some people need a group. We'll figure out exactly what accountability structure works for you. And what we'll do is you'll walk away with a 90-day roadmap, week by week, milestone by milestone, checkpoint by checkpoint. You know exactly what to do and when to do it. Now, this isn't theory. This isn't information. This is a working plan you can execute starting the day after our call. So I really want to say something to you, and I want you to hear this. And you see this slide up here. And so just take a quick peek because we go full screen because I'm talking to you directly. You deserve you deserve to end this year feeling proud of yourself. You do. Because I want you to look back on 2025 and say, I actually did it. I followed through. I finished what I started. And also come with that understanding is that you're not broken. None of us are. You don't lack discipline. You're not fundamentally flawed in some way. You're not. You just haven't had the right system. See, you've been trying to do this with willpower, with motivation, with inner strength, whatever you want to call it. You're trying to do this instead of using structure and accountability. And really, it's not your fault because not too many, no, there's hardly anyone out there that teaches this. There's no one that really teaches how to break down 90 days into manageable chunks. There's no one that teaches you how to plan for reality instead of fantasy. And then nobody's going to say, hey, they're setting up an accountability system for you. But now that you know this, you know better. and you know it actually works. So the question is, are you going to do something with this knowledge? Are you going to let it sit there, or are you going to let it sit there like every good advice, like those self-help books? You know, the ones that you get but never acted on, read? Because let me tell you right now, you have everything you need to make the next 90 days transformational. See, this system works. The approach works. I've seen it work in dozens of people. The only question is whether you're ready to actually use it. All right. So, what I want to do, let's go ahead and recap tonight. Cover what we did this night. All right. So, first, first thing we did is we covered the last 90 days. All right. So let's go here and do that. We talked about that this is your last chance. All right. So that's one of the things we talked about. The next thing that we did is that we talked about the three killers. And those killers are it. They are those serious killers there. Those are the ones that destroy most people's Q4. So there's no clear milestones, no they're planning for fantasy instead of reality, and there's no accountability systems. Just isn't. Third thing, I gave you the three solutions, which is the 30-30 system to break down your 90 days, the reality filter to plan for your actual life, and the importance of external accountability. And the last thing, sorry about that. Ooh, this is what happens when you click too fast. Here we go. And your action plan, what you start, and finally, and breaking into your goals. Okay. Um, You have to break your goal into 30-day milestones, run it through your reality filter, and set up accountability before it starts. Okay? So let's stop that and let's just end this off with a direct conversation with you all. So if you want my personal help in designing your 90-day transformation plan, I have some strategy sessions available this week. And I want to be clear about this, that I have some limited sessions. I don't have unlimited time. I can only take on a certain number of people each quarter because I work with each person individually. See, this isn't group coaching. This isn't a course. This is me and you on a call mapping out your specific 90-day plan. Now, these sessions can fill up within 24 to 48 hours after my workshops. Why? Because the people who are serious, who are actually ready to make Q4 count, they'll grab these spots immediately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in the chat, which is talkwithtrevor.com. Just go to talkwithtrevor.com and book a session. And of course, let me go ahead and put this in. Here you go. All right. So that is in the chat. If you're ready to stop wasting those quarters and start transforming them, click the link and book your session now before they're gone. Because here's what I want to know. The people who book these calls are the ones who end December 31st proud. Those are the people who say, I'll think about it. The people who say, I think about it are the ones who end December 31st with regrets. So the question is, which one are you going to be? Now, I know I said I had a big secret at the end. So here's the big reveal. Shh, don't tell anybody. There's less than 90 days between now and December 31st. That's right. So at this moment, at this time, there are less than 90 days to December 31st. So when I looked at that and I said, well, should I still put on the workshop? But the big reveal is this, is that for those that are serious about this, that want to start at this moment, the good thing about this is if you start now and you plot out 30 days, what happens is this, is that you go into the next year already in process, in motion. You go into the next year with your 30-30 milestone. You go into the next year with your reality-based filter. You go into the next year with your external accountability. So you start 2026 already in process, already cycled, already in that. It's not the end and now you've got to restart. You starting that now. That's the beauty of this. That's the big reveal. That as of this moment, yeah, you count 90 days, you're going to go past December 31st. But the best thing about that is you start the next year in motion, in process, with all the pieces in place, while everyone's saying, all right, where do I start now? You're already in motion. You're part of that 8% of 8% of people that achieve their goals. Now, no, you could be moving the needle to make it go from 8 to 9%. So that's the big reveal. But one thing now that you know the reveal, go ahead and book a time. Go ahead and book that time. As I said, I have I have limited time, and you've got 90 days to turn this year around. This is it. This is your moment to prove to yourself that you can follow through. So let's work together so you can end this year feeling accomplished instead of disappointed. Now, I've given you the system. I've shown you what's worked. Now it's on you to actually use it. Now, if you want my help, if you want me to personally map out your 90-day transformation, grab one of these strategy sessions right now. As I said, the link is in the chat, talkwithtrevor.com. My recommendation, don't let another opportunity slip by. Don't end another year with regrets or with regrets. 90 days. That's what you have. Make them count. All right. Hope this was a help. Know I ran over a little bit, but be sure that you share this with someone that you know that is in a similar situation. They want that Q4 to be the best it's going to be. They want that transformation. Share this, like this, comment, all that. All right. Here's to your Q4. I'll see you soon.